Hi friends, my name is Krishnan. Welcome to my presentation, 8th edition of RERA My Perspective. Today in this video we will discuss revocation. This is an extremely important topic for all of you to know. Revocation is a serious issue and can actually break the nerve of the builder. Revocation means revocation or cancellation basically. It's dangerous as they can not only get fined, certificate revoked, even they can be stopped from doing business in other states. So let us have a look at the main points of revocation today. What does this section say? Section 7.1. The authority may, on receipt of a complaint or so moved on his behalf, that is, either somebody can complain or on their own when they get to know, or on the recommendation of a competent authority, revoke the registration granted under section 5. See, section 3 we saw it was they cannot take make any sale without registration. Section 4 was what are the documents and all the application process, the 50 slides, all everything. It was a big chapter. Now once they apply, then under section 5 they get the license. Okay, so these are three sequential sections. So once somebody authorizes or somebody recommends to the competent authority about the revocation, the authority can revoke the registration granted under section 5 after being satisfied that the promoter makes default in doing anything required under this act. If the promoter is not following the rules or makes a default or does not go by the advice of the authorities or the appellate, the promoter violates any of the terms or conditions of the approval given by the competent authority. So consistently is breaking the rules of, let's say the BMC, he has taken some plans, then he keeps changing the plans, then he keeps he doesn't upload the documents information by website, and it could be any reason. So that could be one of the reasons. The promoter is involved in any unfair practice or irregularities. Therefore, if he is involved in any unfair or unfair practices or irregularities, in those cases also they can consider revocation of the license. Once the license is revoked, then he can't sell, he can't market, he can't advertise, he can't call for invite people to put money in his project, etc. For the purpose of this clause, the term unfair practice means a practice which, for the purpose of promoting the sale or development of any real estate project, adopts any unfair method or unfair or deceptive practice, including one of the following. So it could be any deceptive, unfair, falsely represent what are the practices. It is a practice of making any statement, whether in writing or visible representation, which falsely represents the services of a particular standard or grade. Now let us look at it. He says, I am as good as a very reputed builder, let's say Godrej. He may be a small builder, and he will say, I compete with them, and I'm using one of the best cement, or some false representation he makes. Okay, based which somebody gets to know and they complain. This could be one of the reasons. So he has to be very truthful. Represent that the promoter has approved or affiliation with such promoter does not have. So he makes false claims that I am having this plan, that place, this approval I've got, but he actually doesn't have, or makes a false or misleading representation concerning services. He just says my service is XYZ and blah blah blah, but actually nothing he does. That has been confirmed and that has been proved. In all these cases, it can be considered for revocation of his application. That is part A. Part B, the promoter permits the publication of any advertisement or prospectus, whether in any newspaper or otherwise, or services that are not intended to be offered. Section 12, if you remember, we spoke about this. So what he doesn't want to give, still he is putting up advertisement, which is actually basically misleading, and people are coming based on that. So that could be one of the reasons. Then the promoter indulges in any fraudulent practice. Say he's saying something, doing something, or in plan I'll give you, let's say, 6 children's playground, but he gives 6 children's playground which is not even worth sitting for making a sitting for, let's say, five child. So he projects as if it is being big, but it may be too small. Okay, so those sort of a thing. The registration granted to the promoter under this section 5 shall not be revoked unless the authority has given the promoter not less than 30 days notice in writing stating that the grounds on which it proposed to revoke the registration and has considered any cost shown by the promoter within the period of that notice against the proposed action. So builder will be provided with a 30-day time period. He shall be given a notice and he shall be given 30-day time to rectify those. Okay, and in spite of that writing and everything done, if he doesn't rectify the mistake within 30 days, then they can think of revoking. The authority may, instead of revoking the registration under section 1, permit to remain in force subject to such further terms and conditions as it thinks fit to impose it in the interest of the allottees, and any such terms and on any such terms and conditions so imposed shall be binding upon the promoter. Now they can also take a view saying that if I revoke, then of course the entire project comes to a standstill and there are nobody to do it and it can suffer. Then they look at the allottees' interest, but the allottees need to have the house. Then they can direct this person complete control over it and ask him to do the work. And maybe impose fine with him and force him to do something, and that way they will make sure that he does the work for the allottees for the cost of the allottees. So they will look at that point also. They can impose heavy fine also. That's another point. The authority upon the revocation of the registration shall debar the promoter from accessing its website in relation to that project and specify his name in the list of defaulters and display his photograph on the website, and also inform the other real estate regulatory authority in other states and union territories about such revocation registration. So they shall debar the promoter from accessing its website. That's one is his website will no more be accessible. Second, he will be put on the defaulters list and his photograph will be published. Third, they will also inform all other RERA of all other states about this person, so that his interest there will also be jeopardized. Shall facilitate the remaining development work to be carried out in accordance with the provisions of section 8. What does it mean? It means that the RERA authorities will facilitate the remaining development work through the AOP. AOP is the association of persons. So the RERA will call all the allottees, they will form an association of persons, they will say, can you continue with this work? So since AOPs or the allottees generally give it to the builder, they are not technical people, they will say no. But if they are able to do it, then they will be guided, helped and done everything by RERA, and they can complete it, getting the functions clear from BMC, whatever it is. But if they don't know, then RERA has also formed small circles of builders and developers, 3 or 4 at a time, in different groups, and they will call each groups and say they are some sort of facilitator. So they'll say, can you do it? So those options are there. Now after this, they'll also direct the bank holding the project bank account specified under section clause D of 1 of subsection 2 of section 4, section 4 to 1D, LD rather, to freeze the account and thereafter take such further necessary action. So whatever money is there, they'll freeze it, and including they can do defreezing at a later date for facilitating the development work in accordance with same section. They may protect the interest of the allottees or in the public interest issue such directions as may deem necessary. So whatever is in public interest, they will do it. At this juncture, I will also like to talk about section 8 as to what happens after revoking. I just touched upon the subject. Once the builder's license is revoked, he is no more associated. His account is frozen and he can't do any work. He can't, and that project is out of his hands. Then the first thing that RERA will do is call the association of persons to say if you can do it, if you as a group can do it. If people are busy or they are not technically qualified, then they will ask some other group to do it. This I have explained. So section 8 says upon lapse of the registration or on the revocation of registration under this act, the authority may consult appropriate government and take such action as it may deem fit, including the carrying out of the remaining developmental work, balance work, that is the balance work, by competent authority or by association of allottees, or in any other manner as may be determined by the authority, provided that no direction or decision or order of the authority under this section shall take effect until the expiry of a period of appeal. See, they have to be very justice has to be given to everybody, so there is a period of appeal, 30 days generally. So that is given. Only after that this will happen. Provided for that in case of revocation of registration of a project under this act, the association of allottees shall have the first right of refusal for carrying out the remaining developmental work. If there is a revocation, the first right of doing the work goes to AOPs. Clear, friends? Friends, with this we come to the conclusion of today's video, and we saw what revocation is and its implication. We also touched upon section 8, allowing AOP to take over. With your knowledge on offences and penalties with revocations, gives you a complete picture of what the developers would most like to avoid, which even if you knew earlier you could do nothing, but the entire game has changed now. Now you have some place to go and report or complain. This is a big change. With this I conclude today's video. So far we have already covered background, objectives, landmark, legislation, main features. We have seen the various important definitions, the process of registration by builders, the importance, the interest in great detail interest has come into 3 places: adjudication, and separately also being most important, compensation and its process, adherence to sanction plans, title defect, lifelong liability of builder, offences and various penalties, and today we looked at revocation of registration and what happens thereafter. In the next video I shall talk about only fund management agreement, letter, date of possession, etc. So keep watching. Please do leave a comment, and if you have liked this video, please subscribe for it. Click on subscribe button. Please also share, leave a comment, and also share with other groups who can benefit from this. Thank you so much.